while since we've done an episode, just the two of us.
I know. I mean, it's really nice to see you here, Sara.
How are you doing today?
I'm well. I like your yellow dress.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's my power suit. You know how businessmen have their power suit or their power tie?
It's your power dress.
It's my power dress. But seriously, this is what I wore to speak at the conference. I was like, I need something bold that I feel good in. And I went with our brand yellow.
That's right.
It's this bright yellow dress. And
people don't question anything that she says. She walks with confidence.
She must know what she's talking about. She's wearing bright yellow. She looks like the sun. Okay, that has nothing to do with today's episode.
No, today's episode is about the age-old question we get all the time.
Oh, gosh.
How do you make money at traveling? Like, because, you know, you listen to this podcast and you'll see that we interview all sorts of different people. And most people that we have on this show are making money from traveling in some capacity. And today we are kind of peel back the curtain a little bit. And if you've ever wanted to know how we make money, because we talked about this maybe, 4 or 5 years ago?
4 or 5 years ago, but it was definitely pre-COVID. And I feel like the digital work landscape has changed significantly. That is one very positive thing that came out of that.
Yeah.
So it's been a long time since we've talked about this. And I want to go ahead and say that, yes, we get this question all the time. And our avoidance in answering it isn't because we want to be ambiguous about it. We don't want to be mysterious or hold our cards too close to the vest. It's more of it's such a loaded question. And to get people to sit down and listen to the answer, because I think people assume that we are trust fund kids or we make these courses and that's how we're making all of our money, or YouTube just pays so much. Like, it's a lot of moving pieces. And so we want to encourage you that if you're interested in content creation or you're interested in working as a digital nomad, this episode's for you. We're going to show you guys how we blend those two together, how you could be one or the other or both, and what that looks like for us. It's such a loaded question.
It is. So this episode, we're going to start off talking about the content creation side of our business, and then towards the latter part of the episode, we'll talk about the freelancing side of our business.
Because they go like
hand this. But people, and like Sara said, people always want this sexy answer. Like, you give me a link and then you're going to make $10,000. It's not like that. This is the real honest answer. So if you're looking for more of a self-help, hey, anybody can do this and it's so easy and eventually you'll get there, this episode is not for you. But if you are looking for real practical tools, what it's really like trying to grow this travel business, then I think we can kind of shed some light on there.
Even if you don't want to do travel content, I want to be specific in that, because we don't want to say that you have to be a travel content creator to get something out of this. This is for anybody. Maybe you're a traveling nurse or a software programmer. What do you call software people? A
software programmer or a designer or app developer.
App developer, clearly that's not me. Anyway, whether you have a skill set, you already have a profession, or you do want to get into the content creation business, whether travel or say you're a crafter or a tech reviewer, whatever, this episode is sort of like a catch-all for these are the different ways that we have discovered to make money. So like Chris said, we have 2 big buckets that we pull from for our annual income.
But first, we want to say this episode is actually sponsored by one of the tools that we used, Stay 22. And we'll explain about Stay 22 a little bit later. Just remember their name. They're awesome people and it's an awesome product. And we're excited that they said, yeah, we'd love to sponsor this episode. Oh, and if you're new here and maybe you're like, who are you people and what gives you the right to talk about this? We're Chris and Sara. And we're doing the Pan American Highway. Right now, we're back in our studio in Tennessee, but we've been doing this travel digital nomad thing for quite a long time. And if this is your first, second, or maybe you've listened to every episode of this podcast, if you could do me a favor and please just leave a review. Like, this is Sarah's favorite part.
Just do it so he quits asking, please. Okay, can we just get back to the episode?
Let's go.
This is a loaded episode. We have a lot to talk about. All right, so talking about making money, we've kind of hinted at this, but I want to go ahead and start by saying that there are 2 main ways that we make money. There is the freelancing side, which is what we have done Chris has done for well over 15 years now, since before we were even together. He owned his own business, doing graphic design, web design, all that kind of thing, and it's morphed into more than just those skills now. So we are a team on that. That is a huge part of our income still, but it's something that's been around for years. And so last year, it was about 50% of our income. Then there is the content creation side. And that is what a lot of people are familiar with when they know us, if you know us, because that's how you're coming to us right now, is through a podcast or through YouTube. So that is it's blogging, it's UGC content, we make money from ad revenue on our blog and on YouTube, it's affiliate marketing, it's even leading tours. We led a trip to Iceland. We made some money on that last year. So there are a lot of different ways as a content creator you can make money. So those are the two main categories, but we're going to jump into content creation first, because I think that's what people are most interested in.
Like Sara said, ad revenue is one of the very first things. When people think of content creation, they think of that. They'll think of AdSense on YouTube, or maybe you go to a blog and you'll see that it has ads on a blog. It can look like very different on very different platforms, but people make money that way. It's not a lot of money, is dependent on views and how many views you get in a certain amount of time, or
even industry and location of where you're from.
Yeah.
That greatly affects the amount of ad revenue you're going to get. So traditionally, US based audiences make the highest income just because the US pours a lot of money into digital marketing via content creation. That's just something that is, it's just how it is.
Yeah. Can we give that example? Is it okay if we give that?
We can give an example. So we had been entirely US based, and then we did our first international trip 3 years ago for YouTube. It wasn't our first international trip ever. It was the first one we had done for our YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. And we went to Mexico, which was awesome. And we got hundreds of thousands of views in these videos. They did great.
Awesome.
And we thought the ad revenue was going to be awesome.
We thought we were going to be Scrooge McDuck rolling in the dough.
No. Unfortunately, because the brands that were paying to be on top of our video were largely Mexican based, their budgets were smaller. So ad revenue is going to vary from country to country, and there are definitely some countries that pay more than others. The US, it's cliche that it pays a lot for ad revenue, and there's other places that do the same. I would venture to say most of the EU probably does that.
Mm-hmm.
Australia pays good. I'd say probably Japan. Mm-hmm. I'd say the countries who spend a lot on marketing in general are probably going to be paying more. You can go online and just look to see which countries pay more in ad revenue, like on YouTube and that kind of thing. But the US, if you have a US based audience, they will pay the most. I can't speak to Canada.
Content creation ad revenue is one little slice of the pie.
But most people think that's how content creators make all of their money.
Yeah.
And it's not.
No, it's not. I mean, you do have sponsored content after that, and we'll get there. But I think one thing, and you hear it a lot, is affiliate marketing.
Mm-hmm. And this is going to get back to our sponsor here in a second. But let's explain briefly what affiliate marketing is.
So affiliate marketing, if you don't know, you can go and sign up to a certain platform, or maybe you like a certain company, and you can say, hey, do you have an affiliate program? And you get a link, and then you put that link on your website or your YouTube video or your podcast episode, whatever you're creating. And anybody that clicks that link within a certain amount of time, the cookies, remember there's like cookies in computers, they will remember who clicked it, and they will say, hey, so-and-so came from Chris and Sara, and we will get a certain percentage back from whatever you buy from whatever platform. So the easiest one to think of is Amazon affiliates. That's probably one of the largest ones.
Who is my least favorite on earth.
Yeah, they don't give a lot of money.
They cheat creators so much.
Yeah, and you hear it all the time. You're like, I'm going to teach you how to make thousands and thousands of dollars on affiliate marketing. And I think, and this is one of Sara's pet peeves, is that people will say that it's passive income. It's not. It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. It's so much work. And it takes, all right, we're just gonna give you guys our experience in affiliate marketing, because I feel like, yes, it could be very profitable, but it is really, really hard to build it up. Mostly because there are 1,000 different platforms, and on platforms like to know or CJ affiliate, or there's all these different platforms, and on each platform there will be a lot of different brands, a lot of different companies that are on there. It could be a makeup brand, it could be a swimsuit brand, it could be, a luggage brand, it could be whatever it is, and they'll all have all these different brands that you can join. But it seems like you have to sign up for 50 gajillion different, is that even a word? 50 gajillion different platforms, and each of them is going to generate just a few dollars here and there, especially if you're like us and you're not just these massive influencers. Then there are the other affiliate programs that are very specific. They are things like one product's specific shop that, say, let's use my swimsuit brand. Like, I have a swimsuit that I really like. They have an affiliate program. I actually haven't signed up for it, but that would be an example of like direct affiliate marketing through that company. And usually those are the ones who pay the most, typically speaking. So here's our problem with affiliate marketing. And this is really hard to explain until I always hate talking about affiliate marketing because it is really hard. You may have all these little buckets and they may generate $2, $3, $4, and they will add up over time, which is the beauty of it. And that's what people are really advertising. They say you can make so much money on affiliate marketing. It's true. But a lot of these people have payouts of like $100 or $200. And if you're making $2 a day, it's going to take a long time to get a payout. I mean, there's some platforms we've never gotten a payout on because they have products that really just don't do that well. And for the amount of time it takes to use that platform's link in a blog post or on Instagram, it just is never worth it.
No, and then you have some platforms where they'll say, hey, you've only had 3 clicks this month. We're going to kick you out. And then they will kick you out of that program.
REI kicked us out.
We're
bitter at all.
A little jaded. So what happens is you as a small-time creator, you're trying to get a hold of somebody at this big corporation and you have no pull. You can't talk to anybody and they don't really care. You're a little guy, for the most part, unless you have millions and millions of views all the time. And I think that's why we were so excited to discover Stay 22 just a few months ago, because they have answered a lot of frustration for us on how to deal with affiliate marketing.
So for us, the most lucrative affiliate programs have been the ones that fit the most organically into our content. Well, we are travel content creators. And so obviously anything travel is going to do really well. But we don't want to always be pushing a suitcase or a sweater or something that we use on the road. Like we will occasionally, if it's something we really love, hey, here's a link to it. But typically if you're trying to push all these little products, it's not going to be as lucrative. But we're showing people how we travel. We're showing them where we go. And that organically has things like hotel bookings, Vrbo bookings, car rental bookings, things like that. And the problem with some of these things in these companies, like say you're going to Enterprise or Hertz or American Airlines or Delta or whoever it is, they are not going to give you the time of day. Even the largest travel creators will possibly not be given the time of day by these people because they want sometimes hundreds of thousands. I think Airbnb is millions of clicks a month to become a part of their affiliate or ambassador program. It takes a long time. Enter Stay 22. Now, this is a sponsor of our episode, and we are really excited about them because this is something that we started using recently, and truthfully, it has changed the game for us in the affiliate marketing, and it's been very positive experience so far.
It's been so good. We installed it. I'll just go ahead and give you like this brief snippet. We installed it on our website, and within the first week, we made money like instantly, and we were blown away by it. And not only that, the people at Stay 22 are legitimate humans and they're really nice. And that's kind of their whole mantra is they want to treat people like humans. And they have worked with us, not because we have a platform, but because we're just humans trying to work with all these other different companies. And it's been such a wonderful experience. But let me
explain who they are, though.
Yeah.
Because I think that we're being, I'm trying to circle, rounding the drain here, trying to get to the point.
So Stay 22, what Stay 22 is, it is essentially a platform for these affiliates, especially
these companies, these travel companies. So let's talk about the ones that are on it right now.
Okay.
Expedia.com, Booking.com, Hotels.com, and Vrbo. And they have told us that it's going to keep growing, that they're going to keep adding brands. Like I would love to one day see Hyatt or Marriott or American Airlines or somebody like that on this platform. But for now, you've got some of the biggest travel booking sites available. And it's a one-stop shop that where you plug in a link from Expedia.com or from Hotels.com or from wherever, it'll generate the links in the one website and you don't have to go changing them around all the time. There is an AI component, which I know is a very trendy word right now, where it is using AI to figure out what your audience is going to shop more, whether it's Booking.com or whether it's Expedia. It's just one place where you can generate income from bookings. So say, for example, I did a travel guide on Killarney, Ireland, and I listed some hotels that were really awesome in Killarney that I really wanted to stay at, and we told who we rented our car through and all this kind of thing. Well, those are now links from Stay 22 in that blog post, and we have generated income because people have gone and booked, even if it's not the same hotel that I recommended, but their other hotel in Killarney or somewhere else, and we've made money on that booking because of the 30-day cookie policy.
And what makes it really special is that Stay 22 is able to go to these larger corporations, these companies, and say, hey, we have got these creators together. We've vetted all these different creators. Give us a bigger portion of the affiliate, and that way we can pay the creators a fair amount. And that's why this is such a beautiful, beautiful thing. So thank you, Stay 22, for sponsoring this episode. And we highly, highly recommend learning more about Stay 22. There's a link in the description down below. So if you have a blog, if you have a YouTube, if you have any sort of content platform that you're like, you know what, people do come for me for bookings, I think Stay 22 would be a really good resource for you.
And we want to break down that barrier of belief of it's only for big creators, people who are already established. Go out there and apply. Just see if you're eligible. I think you will be shocked to find out that the barrier, the point of entry is much lower than what you expect, because a lot of companies like Stay 22, they benefit when you benefit. If you're going to put in the work, then they benefit too. So go apply. It's been a really positive experience for us. I want to say that in the other booking affiliate programs out there, we had been a part of some previously, I never made money. And I didn't like to push people to any one affiliate program, because I like to give people options of shop around, get the best deal, see if Expedia has a better deal or hotels.com has the best deal. And Stage 22 allows for that. So I feel a lot more honest about being able to push people to a booking site. So that is our spiel for Stage 22. Let's talk more about affiliate marketing.
But affiliate marketing can be very lucrative.
It can.
In fact, one of our biggest sorts of income is from an affiliate link to an online course that we believe in.
But it wasn't our course.
No, it wasn't our course.
We made a course. We're going to sell the affiliate link. No, it's a course. You may have heard us talk about it. It's actually a drone course.
Drone course,
When we got in trouble with the FAA, we worked with this drone course because Chris used the course to pass the Part 107 test that was required for drone pilots in America. And he loved the course so much that we mentioned it in a couple of videos, and it ended up being, how much have we made on it?
We've made over $40,000 in revenue, and the company has made
over a year or two.
Over about 2 years. And the company that has created the course, they've made about $175,000 in revenue from that. And so they've seen benefit and we've seen benefit.
But that's where I say, like when I was talking earlier about, there's the companies that they'll have thousands of different companies on their affiliate marketing platform, and you sign up. Like to Know is a big one. A lot of fashion people or makeup people use that one, but we have a Like to Know too, but I just don't utilize it because it doesn't seem to be that profitable for us for what we do. Whereas something like Stage 22, where it's a lot more niche down, and it may be fewer brands, but you're going to have a higher payout because it's very niche to what you're talking about, or something like the drone course. That's where we see the affiliate marketing. When we see a really specific way we can incorporate it into our content, affiliate marketing works really well. And I think part of that is our belief, and we don't want to always be pushing products onto people.
Yeah.
Now, if you're comfortable with doing that, and that's something that you want to be about, you could probably make a lot more money on affiliate marketing than we do. But we are minimalists, so we aren't big product pushers unless it's something that we really are loving. And we just don't want people to spend money on something just because we can make a penny on it.
So one thing that really frustrates me is when I listen to podcasts like this and they're like, okay, I understand affiliate marketing, but how do you sign up? Like where are the places to go? So if people were listening right now and they wanted to get started in affiliate marketing, what sort of websites would they go to?
Oh gosh, we need to pull up our list. But Stay 22, if you're a traveler, do Stay 22, because it doesn't have to just be hotels. It can be cars or plane tickets or whatever those sites are selling. You can use their links. I personally like to go to websites that have one product. Like I said, I used the swimsuit example earlier. I don't know how high their affiliate link would be, what their percentage is of payout, but typically, I would recommend going to those, because I feel like if it's a very specific product that you're loving, just go to a website and find out, do you have an affiliate marketing product?
I mean, there are other platforms out there like Impact or AventLink.
AventLink, that's a big one.
Like Sara said, if you go to a specific brand, go all the way down to the bottom of the website to the footer, and you'll say affiliates, or something like that. And then most likely that will point you to whatever platform that they're using. Some platforms have a certain amount of number that you have to get in, so just remember that. I think the lowest entry to start affiliate marketing is probably through Amazon. That's probably the lowest bar, and then you can go from there. And we'll list some more down here in the description.
We'll do that in the show notes. We do a whole page for each episode on our website, so we will put that in the show notes. We'll have a whole section dedicated to the different platforms that we use. Some have been better than others, but all the ones that have used and are signed up for will be there. And then you can pick and choose which one's best for you. Sign up for all of them. There's usually no reason why you shouldn't sign up for them. Shop around and see who's out there on these platforms. So we'll link all that in the show notes, so be sure to go check that out.
All right, so that's affiliate marketing. We could talk forever about this and get into the nitty gritty, but we need to go into more of the content creation of how else we make money on that side of the business. So the other parts are sponsored content, like this episode is sponsored, right? Or a YouTube video can be sponsored. This is something that you nail down as a creator. You're like, hey, do you want to sponsor this Instagram reel or this blog post or whatever you're creating? So that is another form of revenue coming in.
And that's a huge part as a content creator. I think that's the largest percentage of our income from the content creation business side. Because when we do get a brand deal, as our numbers continue to grow and the rate you charge is directly correlated to, your audience demographic, like your location. So we have a largely US based audience. We have so many subs or so many listeners. So as those numbers grow, we can charge more. Yeah. And like some brands, say it's a brand that aims to Gen Zers, they probably aren't going to want to work with us because our audience tends to be millennials and higher.
I am so hip, Sarah, and offended by that question.
No Gen Zers. Actually, that's not true. Our podcast has more Gen Zers than most other platforms do.
What up, really kids?
Funny. What up, youths? Okay, then they're gone.
Okay.
So back to you old folks out there.
So we have sponsored content. And then the next way that we get paid is UGC content, which means UGC is user-generated content.
And I love this.
Yes.
This is one area I want to continue to grow.
Yeah, so essentially a company will come to us and say, can you make a video? Can you take a photo? Do something. And we will use that on our platform. We don't want to use your platform. So essentially they're hiring a photographer or a videographer to take stuff, and then you send them the clips.
But they like your creative angle, and they will use the content that you create. And now, one area that you can even charge more for is your likeness, which is so ridiculous sounding to be like, you have to charge to use my face. But you know what? If they want to use your face on their platform, if you have a recognizable face in that industry, you should charge a little bit more because they are essentially going to be using your face and saying, essentially, you're endorsing their product. So there is a price tag. Make sure if they're going to use your likeness, your face, and their product to post on their platforms, make sure it's a product you like. But UGC is one of those things that I really like because it gives us a chance to be creative and we can make more content without having to always push our audience to buying something or advertising something. So we get to have fun, do content with a product we like at the moment, but then send it to that company and our audience doesn't get spammed with tons of content.
Yeah, UGC is something that we are striving more and more of. Like this is just, we're telling you what our goals are because we like creating and we hate selling, and so this allows us to be able to sell the UGC content to the companies and they're able to use it for whatever they want. Another part of UGC content is actually licensing photos and videos. So that's another way. A lot of times you'll see comments from like on Instagram, I love this photo from a company, right? Like, I love this photo. Do we have permission to post that? Always say no, because you need to license that photo. They have the budget to pay for that. And that's what it should be. So we license photos.
Yeah, we do license photos. I do want to warn people of putting their photos up on stock websites that you will make pennies on for each photo sold. I heard a horror story of a girl, and I cannot even remember which creator it was. It's been several years now. But she and her boyfriend at the time had taken some really awesome photos in Colorado or something. Well, he, I think, without her knowing, had uploaded these to stock websites because a lot of people have. We have in the past too. You haven't heard the story?
I think so, but this is a nightmare.
Well, without her knowing, he was just uploading them, like you may make a few pennies here or there. When you're in the hustle of trying to make money like we constantly are, you will take $1 here and $1 there. You're never going to scoff at $1. So I'm going to go in and say that was his mindset of like, I'll just, make a few pennies off this. Well, unfortunately, it was her likeness that was used in the image. And a major credit card company known as American Express, I believe is who it was, legally purchased this image on a stock photography website and turned it into a big campaign. Yeah, she was walking through the airport in Denver and came across her own photo in one of those big light up billboards sitting in the airport. That should have been tens of thousands of dollars of a campaign. That credit card company, I'm pretty sure it's Amex. I may be getting some of the details here about like what airport and what credit card company it was, so I'm not hating on Amex. We have an Amex. They did it legally, but what I'm saying is her boyfriend had put her photo up and didn't license it in the way that you should license it and knowing his worth. And so she was paid literally zero. He was probably paid 25 cents for the ultra large resolution option of the photo on the website on iStock or something. And so what could have been a $100,000 campaign turned into 25 cents. So you've got to know your worth.
Another story along that same route. There's a movie called Shang-Chi and the 10 Rings. It's a Marvel movie. It's, you know,
never heard of that movie.
It's a Marvel movie. It came out a couple years ago. The main actor, I forget his name, but he used to be a stock model.
I know where we're going with this.
He used to be a stock model. And so you can literally go today on iStock and you can buy him. Like you can buy his photo. And now he's a big movie star, right? But you can buy his photo and say, Shang-Chi really likes this. I mean, you probably couldn't say Shang-Chi. You could say the actor's name, or you could just say, he likes this, right? I could literally buy that photo and do whatever I want with it. So just be careful when you are licensing photos that you know who you're licensing to. We know several creator friends who upload to stock photos, like pictures of their children up to the stock photo sites. And
it's scary.
It's scary because technically they're at risk of having their photos of their kids downloaded and then it being used for whatever purpose.
I mean, they could be used for, it could get real adult, or it could be like, I was the diarrhea poster child, you know? I mean, it could be anything that's humiliating to you.
Yeah. So just be forewarned. If you upload to stock websites, you are opening yourself up for that. But if you license your photos yourself to these companies, that's where you have a lot more control.
You have a lot more control. You can write into the contract of how long they can use it, where they use it. I mean, there's all sorts of little variables. You know who's going to be using it and in what capacity. So we say license photos, go for it. Because if you're like us, you have photos that are just sitting on a hard drive. An example is we had some random photos in a blog post from Iceland, from a hot spring that we went to. And they were in a blog post. The blog post did pretty well, but we really hadn't seen a ton of money made on that blog post or anything. It brought people to our website, but that was about it. Well, they were just sitting on our hard drive. I mean, they're pretty photos. We had a lot of fun taking them. And then we were approached by a British publishing house. They were doing a book called The Nature of Swimming, and we can link this too. It's a really pretty book, and they do a lot of like coffee table books. You'll see them out. But they wanted to purchase 5 or 7 of our photos, and they purchased by the image the rights to print these images. Now, I don't know that we charged quite enough, but we did charge. We knew our worth, and we charged them for them. But yeah, so our pictures are in this book, which is really cool. And so while we probably could have charged even more, we had some control over where that picture went. So there are cool opportunities that come from it. And it's really cool to be like, yeah, my pictures are in the same books that publish Chris Burkhart's photos.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's actually a really nice compliment book.
Yeah, it's a really pretty book.
All right, so that's UGC content. And, there's other ways that we can make money from the content creation side. You can be as creative as you want with it. One of the creative things that we have done since we do travel content is we have led tours in the past.
Just one, but we would like to lead more.
Yeah, we want to lead more. I think it's just a lot of fun. And being a content creator doesn't just mean that you have to be in front of the camera. You can choose to do something behind the camera.
Yeah, and I feel like that's such a huge thing. I want to always I want to scream that sometimes, you don't have to be in front of the camera, because some people are like, well, I want to travel full time, but I'm really awkward on camera. Well, one, you're probably not as awkward as you think you are. And two, you don't have to be. You don't have to be on camera. And that is the beauty of things like blogging. That's the beauty of certain Instagrams and YouTube accounts where you could get millions of views from never showing your face, for never hearing your voice. I mean, if you've got to be creative about what you want to do. But I've seen channels where the people will strap a GoPro to their head and they will walk around the city. I don't know how many subs they have, but I think they do pretty well. And they get hundreds of thousands of views on these videos. You have no idea who's filming this video. And same thing goes for hiking. There's a famous guy named Craig Adams, and he's definitely more in his content now where he just films himself hiking. Hundreds of thousands of subs, making full-time income, and it's just beautiful videos of him hiking. There's also people who do things like art, people who knit on camera, who paint. One of our friends just started a YouTube channel, and she does watercolor, and she just films her hands, watercoloring, painting, and it's so fun to watch. But there's all sorts of ways you can be creative and create content without showing your face if that's something you don't want to do. Now, if you do want to be on the camera and you do want to have, make it your personality, that's fine too. It just takes practice.
Yeah. So you may be listening now and you're like, okay, guys, we know you're a content creator. You can make money from all these different ways. That's great. But what if I don't want to be a content creator? What if I just want to work from the road? How do you do that? When we first started, we weren't on YouTube. We weren't on Instagram. We literally bought a van and we started taking photos, but we were working from the road. When I first met Sara, I had been working freelance. I was a freelancer doing websites and marketing campaigns and videos, all this stuff. But I was doing them from my living room in my apartment. And then Sara was like, you could do this anywhere, right?
You don't have to stay in this small town in North Carolina, which was adorable, but we can see the world.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we did. And so we have been freelancers for the better part of...
You've done it for over 15 years. I've been with you doing it for 7 years, technically.
Yeah, by freelancers, we mean we've worked with... Sara would tell me I shouldn't say this, but I would say, hey, if you've got money, I'll learn how to do it. I don't care. Just pay me money.
But there's some truth in that.
Yeah.
Skills can be learned and acquired over time.
Yeah, and so we have both honed skills to where we're able to work from the road. But I think the main caveat is that you have to have internet at some point to be able to do it, right? Mm-hmm. You can't just go off. Typically, you can't just go off and travel and then not be able to communicate. What we do on our freelancing side of our business is we create websites, marketing plans, we create branding, we'll do videos.
We developed a bunch of different skills. So Chris has his skill sets, I have my skill sets, and they really blend together. So he has primarily done web design, graphic design, and video editing is a huge part of it. And then I do more of photography and SEO, and then some copywriting. I don't like to copyright unless it's for our own stuff, but I will do it if you guys need me to.
Depends on how big that checkbook is.
Right. No, well, but really.
Yeah.
So we never turn down $1. Even now when I say our business is successful, Chris and I are just, I think that's probably the hardest thing about growing is learning to let go and be I don't have to say yes to everything. And that's where that freelancer mentality can be really dangerous and really toxic. That's a whole nother topic of you feel like you can never say no because you never know when the business is going to dry up if the economy goes bad. You don't have a severance package coming in if you get fired. You just don't get clients.
And I've been living this way for so long that
it's hard
to break away. It's hard to be you know what? I don't have to work on the weekend. Because I think that's what you give up as a freelancer. Yeah. If you're working from a 9 to 5, typically you can tell your boss it's 9 to 5, see you later. And if you have a really bad boss or whatever, you've heard horror stories. But as a freelancer, you're kind of working nonstop, especially if you love it.
Yeah. Okay. This is one thing we haven't differentiated yet. Is that there's freelancing and then there's just digital nomad life. Mm-hmm. Freelancing is what we do. That's our form of digital nomad life. But there are different ways you can be a digital nomad. You can take whatever profession you have. Most professions can be translated to a travel form. Mm-hmm. Even, we know travel nurses. We know traveling web designers, traveling accountants, traveling government contractors. Each of these people is going to have their own stipulation about how long you have to stay in a place, what their restrictions are about, especially for government contractors, you have to be on a secure network, you can't be on public Wi-Fi. There's always little fine things. Some people will say you have to check in every now and then, but most jobs can be fully remote now. You just have to find the right employer if you don't want to be freelance. We love the freelance life. We love the freedom that affords us. We love that it's 3:00 on a Thursday afternoon and we could take time off from our clients and come here and film a podcast at our co-working space. That's a beautiful thing. Yesterday afternoon, I went cycling at 2 p.m. and it was awesome. I got to take advantage of the sunny afternoon and I went riding. And that is the perk of being self-employed. But like we talked about, there are some real struggles that come with it. The mentality, the fear, the anxiety that comes with it of just where's that next dollar? It can be very inconsistent. You know how they say have 3 months salary saved up? We always like to have 6 months salary because you never know what clients are going to do. It tends every year. It seems like we have 4 months or so where we get 25% of our income in those 4 months. And then the other months are a wasteland.
Yeah, it feels like that anyway.
So you may want to go the digital nomad route, working for someone else.
And, you know, we do have a lot of people reach out and they're like, well, you know, should I ask my boss if I could do that? And you're more than able to ask your current boss at your job, could you go remote and let's try it out and see it? And sometimes we've heard some success stories, but what we've seen in the majority of times is that a lot of people don't like to experiment. If it's working now, it's still going to work, and they don't want to try anything new. And so if you are really desperately trying to find something that you could be a digital nomad and travel, you need to start looking for that job, a remote job online on different platforms like
LinkedIn, Monster.com, Indeed. I mean, go to individual companies. Like, I'm trying to think of who's fully remote. Like, there are companies that, especially are like in the tech or the online industry, they're more likely to have online jobs.
Yeah, and there are plenty out there, but I think in our experience, we have seen people who try to convince their company that they can do it, and it just doesn't work.
Not that we know your boss by any means, but we've also seen where people mention to their boss, I want to go remote, and it ends up having it sort of tells the boss, like, I'm not fully committed to this business. Like, one, the boss is not going to let you go remote, but two, now that you've mentioned that you want to travel and possibly not be in the office full time, they could go ahead and start looking for somebody else to fill your role who's not going to potentially leave. So you've got to be really careful. And we're not trying to like put too much fear on you by any means,
but just enough.
Just enough to realize that it's a serious matter. And that's where, you know, if you have kids, you obviously have a lot higher stakes. If you have a mortgage like we do, obviously we always have to be paying the mortgage. So we can only take so much risk. We always say take a calculated risk. Like, how much risk can you take? If you have a trust fund to fall back on, you can take a lot of risk. We unfortunately do not have that. But you just figure out what's possible for you, how much you can save, how much you can spend, and then go from there. Everybody's different.
Yeah, we'll put down in the description below in the show notes, we will also list a couple of different platforms where you can start looking for remote jobs and seeing what you're qualified for. I mean, the bare minimum, if you know how to speak English, you could always sign up and teach English.
If you can say it.
You could always sign up and teach English to people online.
Yeah, and that's actually a great one. We've seen people do that, and you get paid dependent on like what your degree level is. I think you just have to have a high school degree for most of them, but sometimes they'll pay more if you have a college degree or even a master's degree, especially if you have one in teaching. They'll want to know what your teaching experience is. That's a great one though, and it really goes well with traveling. Yeah. So there's Upwork. As contractors, freelancers, you can also go on things like Upwork. There are platforms who are looking to hire contractors only. Y'all, there's so many of them. We'll link everything that we can think of. We have spreadsheets of this kind of stuff. We will go and link all those in the show notes. So if you're interested in finding a job or signing up for an affiliate platform, we will link all of that. Man, this episode, I feel like it's just been like, we just threw a ton of
It's like a big brain dump. And we could talk about this forever. And maybe there are certain aspects that we didn't talk about or that you have questions, and we would love to hear that because we're always trying to help and be as transparent as possible, because I feel like from either the content creator side or the freelancer or digital nomad side, there's enough mystery that sometimes it can hinder us and hurt everybody in the industry. And if we're all open and transparent, I think it only helps.
Yeah. Yeah, and we've gotten accused of being gatekeepers before, and it's not that we're trying to gatekeep information just for ourselves. We believe there's enough to go around. It's just sometimes we can't answer all the questions, or I mean, we don't think about answering that question. Like here, I'm sure we have missed something that you guys are like, well, you're just gatekeeping that portion of it. You should have mentioned this. We've had people mention that before on other pieces of advice we've offered on YouTube and other videos of like how we make money and stuff. And it wasn't that we were gatekeeping. We just forgot to mention Upwork. That's why I mentioned it here, because somebody was like, how dare you not mention Upwork? You're gatekeeping that one. We weren't. Anyway,
we weren't gatekeeping.
We are happy to answer questions if we can. Yeah, I think this is something we're really excited about. But if you have a specific question, drop it in the comments. Feel free to reach out. We will do our best to answer those.
Yeah. And so if you like this episode, like this content, please let us know. I know it's about how to travel, right? Because it's all interconnected. So
yeah, it's how we've afforded to travel.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks again to Stay 22 for sponsoring this episode. And thank you guys for watching it. And we'll see you in the next one.
See ya. Thanks for listening to What No One Tells You with Chris and Sara. If you have a comment or question that you want answered on the air, be sure to send us a message to hello@chrisandsara.com, or you can call or text our phone number at 423-825-9572. Thanks for listening.